Chapter 184. The Ninetales and the Black Bull appeared behind Shaoling's followers, silently observing the two. The vampire and the beast instantly froze, motionless, the tension in the air so thick they could hear their own hearts pounding chaotically. It should be noted that these two mythical beasts exuded a terrifying pressure, causing creatures below the transcendent second order to feel as if they were suffocating. Oh dear, are they just going to stare at each other like this? The beast touched the hilt of his sword, intending to end his life, but the vampire quickly raised his hand, signaling him to stop. Indeed, the vampire still had intelligence, while this beast seemed to have a beast's brain. The vampire gently said, "Stop, the mythical beasts of the Misty Mountain are on our side." The elder sister Ninetales began to speak. "What's the situation here?" The vampire immediately reported the situation to the Ninetales. The spokesperson was being forced to fight defensively. The super warriors of humanity really didn't contribute much to the battle, even they couldn't rush in. Besides, from the darkness, mythical beasts kept appearing, stealthily attacking the human side. For this reason, the spokesperson needed to conserve strength and couldn't go all out. The Ninetales sighed upon hearing this. She never thought Shaoling would also be pushed into such a situation. It seemed embarrassing, haha. The Ninetales and the Black Bull moved to the edge of the cliff. They decided to join in right now. "Let's go." On this side, Shaoling was still fighting bravely. Of course, she always held back her main attacks, to conserve strength in case she had to fight with the strange beast coming to aid that dragon. But Shaoling's fire had no effect on this black fox. It also had fire, a strange indigo flame, which was constantly devouring Shaoling's fire. It seemed she had met her nemesis this time. The dragon had regained the upper hand, immediately launching a powerful counterattack. These two monsters wanted to crush Shaoling. They knew well, the main force of the humans was only this girl. As Shaoling jumped up to dodge, before she could land, the black fox rushed forward, opened its mouth and said with a sneer, "Accept your fate." Shaoling turned to look, her eyes wide in surprise. She seemed about to say something but then stopped, her gaze on it as if looking at a corpse. The masked team leader below, seeing this dire situation, shouted Shaoling's name. If she were to sacrifice herself, it would indeed be a great loss for the Federation, and she was still unmarried. But in the next moment, a sharp battle axe swung through the air, cutting a deep gash into the fox's chin. From this angle, one could see that this black fox was truly enormous, even bigger than the mutated bull of Misty Mountain. Perhaps? But no matter, Shaoling had been saved once. The black fox glared at the newcomer, its teeth grinding in anger, not knowing who this audacious person was who dared to interfere in its business. Seeing the black bull arrive, Shaoling broke into a happy smile. This little brother of hers had indeed come. At this point, everyone below also recognized him. This was the bull demon, one of the main forces that had been making waves for many years from Misty Mountain. The bull demon roared, unleashing his skill, gravity. The bull demon was now a veteran warrior, extremely proficient. His gravity skill had also been applied to the extreme, affecting a space without needing a dragon. Just accuracy, but the pressure was terrifyingly strong. Look at this. The upper body of the black fox had been pressed down, about to be flattened into a sheet of paper. Its mouth was also wide open, fresh blood splattering everywhere. Conveniently, the bull added another commemorative axe. The masked team leader suddenly felt his buttocks burning up. A spark of fire flashed across his face. The Ninetales spoke in a clear voice. "Turn back, humans. This is not a place you should come to." The team leader heard these words and replied doubtfully, You will help us?" The Ninetales cast a disdainful and cold gaze, saying, "Less self-love, humans. We are here to retrieve the dragon's body." The dragon on the other side, seeing the human reinforcements arrive and hearing the words of the Ninetales, felt extremely indignant and roared loudly, calling for more reinforcements. A white orangutan appeared from under the ground, and then, another white beast appeared. Indeed, this dragon had a colorblind autistic syndrome. Except for the black fox, all its friends were white. Seeing this scene, the human warriors were terrified, as two more powerful monsters appeared, all of whom had a reputation on the planet. The divine elephant rushed out to support Shaoling. As expected, this white dragon still had reinforcements waiting to appear at the crucial moment. The forces on both sides could now be reluctantly equal. Both sides stopped and lined up, exchanging infatuated glances. It seemed that this time, they could all go all out. The white dragon's side roared, and the misty mountain side also roared, and the two sides began a great battle. At the same time at Misty Mountain, a brilliant golden light shone down on this piece of forest. The mutated mantis was kneeling on the ground. Today the divine tree had called him over. The divine tree sat on its wooden throne, thoughtfully asking the mantis, "Hey mantis, I heard that you and the golden ant are very close, right?" The mantis respectfully replied, "Yes, master." The divine tree sighed, then said with a mix of calm and disappointment, "You will be the leader of the mantis army in the future, our key. Inheriting a large amount of resources, that will be a bright future, but you have been at Transcendent Second Order for the past 3 years." Hearing this, the mantis knew he was about to be scolded, but he had to remain silent and continue to listen. Sure enough, when the divine tree got to this point, it got angry and yelled, "Look at yourself, do you still have the qualifications to fight alongside the golden ant?" This sentence really made the mantis, even though he was mentally prepared, tremble all over, his face full of sweat. It should be known that he was rarely scolded by the divine tree before. He always tried to complete his tasks, even compared to the golden ant in terms of temperament. This mantis was much more cautious and calm. The divine tree sighed again, pulled out a treasure. "If you work hard to listen to the scolding, one day you will receive a treasure, that's how it is, a shiny purple worm was pulled out." The divine tree said, "You eat this. This is a void worm. It has been gnawing at the roots of my tree for 3 years, and now it has developed into this shape. Ah, this insect looks really not gentle. Let it go wandering around. It will surely soon become the master of a place." The divine tree handed it to the mantis, not forgetting to warn him, "If you digest it successfully, you will become stronger, but if you fail, it will take over your body. Choose." The mantis, without a second thought, agreed to the experiment immediately, decisively replied, "I would rather die to become stronger than live as a weakling." The divine tree looked at him. Indeed, this guy hadn't changed for so many years, even though he was usually cautious. But before the challenge, he never backed down. That was also the reason why the assassination tasks were always assigned to him by the divine tree. So the mantis began to open his mouth to swallow this worm. The moment he closed his jaw, a terrifying purple energy began to overflow from his mouth, then quickly spread to every cell in his body, a pain like thousands of needles piercing into his body. The mantis opened his mouth and screamed in pain. The divine tree silently watched this scene. This was the reincarnation of Nirvana, had to go through the pain of purification, so that each cell could be reborn strong. Remove the accumulated impurities at the root, help the mantis escape from the inherent restriction cage of his own body. End of chapter 184.